Coming to you from 8122 Production Studios in the heart of the 607, this is Horror Zone 607. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And remember, you can always join the conversation using hashtag HZ607. To Horror Zone 607, the podcast where we talk all things horror and bring you the week's biggest horror movie news. I am your host, Mike C., and we're back at it this week with another big show. We got a lot to talk about this week, but before we get to that, let me first introduce my co-hosts. First, he finished 7th place in the 2019 Cleveland Naked Bike Ride. Please say hello to Rich.
I would have finished a lot sooner, a lot closer to 1 if it wasn't for the chafing. Just saying.
Lots of that.
Lots of chafing. I'm still chafing from that event, and that was like it was a few weeks ago. It was bad. It was bad.
It looked like it was a good time.
It was the after party was amazing.
Yeah, the Yankees were in town to play the Indians.
That's right.
Yeah, it was.
I rode with a naked. I rode naked, but I did have a giant Yankee symbol painted on my buttocks. Because when you're standing up, all you can really see is the undershot and the undercarriage. Yeah,
sure,
it's good stuff.
I mean, it makes sense.
The Y extended down. I'm just saying.
I don't even know where to go from there. So, I mean, I guess we could introduce the other half of our team, the other third of our team. He's back in the studio this week. He is the former owner of 8122 Production Studios. Let's have a warm welcome for Ron.
What's happening?
All right, so it's good to have you back this week, buddy. We missed you last week. There was a lot of weeping.
Oh, I bet there was. So much weeping, I bet. I heard it on the podcast.
Yeah, Rich had to console me for hours after the show.
Before and after.
Rich was happy not seeing me for a day.
I had to coach him through how we were going to make it through to get to the promised land.
All right, so let's kick off the news this week. I would say probably the biggest thing that came about. We've been waiting forever for it, but I want to get you guys' thoughts on the
Clownado again?
Clownado, sure. Yes. And Shark House, was it?
Shark? I own Shark House.
Yeah.
We should actually review that sometime.
Yeah. I still have to see it.
Yeah, we should get together. We have to do that movie night we always talk about. We have to do Shark House. Because the people from Shark House will be at Sci-Fi Horror Fest with us, too.
Yes.
So maybe we definitely have to do it beforehand.
We got to get them on our show.
We should.
I think that we're going to be able to get a lot of podcasting
coming into it. Also, actually, the big news of the week, sorry, not to bury your lead, the big news of the week is that Courtney Gaines is going to be at Sci-Fi Horror Fest October 4th and 5th in Oneonta, New York, which we are, the Three Fat Nerds, plus, of course, Horror Zone 607, are sponsors of Media Row there. And if you go back to, I do believe it was episode 2. Was it episode 2?
It was our first one under the 8122 production.
We have an interview
it was our second.
From Scaricon with one Courtney Gaines. So hopefully we'll get another interview because he said, the promoters told us he was excited to see us again.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. He's our friend, and
yes.
I think we should take him out for like chicken or something. After.
We should. I'll be probably staying in the same hotel as him.
Yeah.
Because the Hampton Inn is also a sponsor of Sci-Fi Horror Fest.
Sweet.
Putting him over.
Yeah, fine.
Sorry, now we can jump into the news. Now that we kind of went off the side.
The second biggest story to come out this week in the horror community, the long-awaited trailer, if we can call it that. I guess it was more of a teaser trailer. I was expecting more from it, but Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell.
I mean, we're still far away out on it, so I wasn't expecting the world. I mean, I guess I was expecting more of a teaser for that. I mean, the fact that they did the little, we started with this, and then we went to this, and then we have this. And then it was a very brief this for what, we came to see.
Right.
It was, I mean, I'm glad that he stuck to, a teaser instead of just doing, burying the lead on, like some people do. But I could have used a little more. But once again, we're far out from that. I do believe October.
September. Yeah, he said it's going to be out in September. He gave that information, although he doesn't have the exact release date yet. He did say that Captain Spaulding will be in it, and he also said he's not going to say how or why, but the movie does take place directly, immediately following The Devil's Rejects.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
That's very intriguing.
So I guess it was. He was quick to point out it's going to have all the bullet holes in them. apparently maybe they're dead and it's some kind of a supernatural comeback that even the devil didn't want them. It'll be interesting.
Well, the second movie was called The Devil's Rejects. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm even more intrigued now. I think that maybe that was the best way to do it with that teaser then, because now we're just more intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Zombie did promise, there was an article I think that came out earlier today, next week he's promising a longer trailer. So maybe we'll get a little bit more information.
Maybe every week leading into September, we'll just get a longer trailer.
It'll
and then
be
when you piece them all together, it'll be the whole movie.
Yeah, it'll be 2.1 seconds longer every week.
And it'll start the same way. And so each week, it'll just add a little piece more of the new movie.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I'm game for that. That'd be something new, something different. Nobody's ever done that before.
They haven't. It would be genius, really.
It would be. So do it, Rob. Do it, damn it.
I think they should. I think he should. All right, next up, we got another trailer. Rich actually was kind enough to show us in the studio before the show. And you did send it to us individually during the week, too. But
we sent it to our little conversation.
Yeah, we have a little chat room, and we send each other, horror movie news and
of course, nude pics. Let's be
honest.
Nude
pics, yes. A lot of boob shots from these guys. So,
not the boob shots you necessarily want, but the ones you get, Mike.
Right. It makes me giddy every time. I'm telling you. So, another trailer of a movie called Deep Murder. It's going to be coming out 2 days. Well, today, again, we always record our show on a Wednesday, but
usually I try to put this out Wednesday night now.
Right.
So, yeah, we can say Wednesday, Thursday. When you probably hear it is probably Thursday more accurately.
But this Friday, June 14th, this movie will be releasing on demand and on other streaming services.
So, yeah, check it out. It's called Deep Murder. The trailer's phenomenal.
It really is.
It looks like 70s porn. Jerry O'Connell's in it. And he has the nice little Van Dyke going on, which is kind of strange to me. But it basically has that I don't know 70s. I would say 80s. It has that 80s feel to it. 80s graphics. It says when a softcore porn turns into hardcore events. I think it's just going to be a real cheesy fun watch, but it's definitely a slasher movie. Probably a comedic slasher movie is what I get out of the trailer.
Did you ever see the movie The Final Girls?
Yes.
Okay, I kind of got that kind of a vibe, but a more adult,
sleazier
version of it.
I don't know if there's going to be a ton of nudity in it. There might be some.
Right.
I mean, Jerry O'Connell is definitely. You see him dead in the trailer, so it's not really a surprise.
Right.
I don't know how much airtime he gets.
Well, I think he's probably the biggest star in the movie.
But he's definitely the biggest star in the movie.
15 minutes with him.
But hey, listen, you're pulling the Drew Barrymore and Scream. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
But I'm definitely intrigued to see this one. This will be one that maybe I'll keep an eye on, and hopefully in the next couple weeks maybe give a little review ski on it. Kind of. It'd be a fun watch. I think it just looks that way. We could be completely wrong, but I don't know. This one, I think you see what you're gonna get. I think it's just a fun.
It could be Return to Sleepaway Camp bad for all we know. But
I don't know.
I don't think it will be.
I don't think it will be only because I think it's comedic.
Yeah.
It's portraying itself as a very comedic light, so it can't be that bad of Return to Sleepaway Camp, because that was trying to be serious.
Yeah, I just found out, not to change subjects here and talk about that movie, because I don't want to give it, I still want my $3.99 that I spent on demand for that when I got it 11 years ago. I just found out yesterday that movie was filmed near here. It was filmed in Hancock, New York.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Well, I'm assuming they want their money back for them filming it here.
As they should.
Maybe that's why we didn't know, because they're like, just X-nay on the where you film day. It's bad. That was a good movie, but I think this one's more of tongue-in-cheek. So I like fun tongue-in-cheek horror movies, especially fun tongue-in-cheek slasher films. I think this will be a fine watch. Check out the trailer, because the trailer. If you don't want to watch the movie, the trailer is definitely worth a watch.
It is definitely worth it. And, while we're at it, I've talked about it on the show before. Check out The Final Girls. Great movie. Check it out sometime.
Good stuff. That's actually a really good movie.
That's an amazing movie. That was one that went direct to video, and that's criminal.
You know what? Nowadays I like it better when horror movies go straight to streaming, straight to DVD, because I feel like they're better. I feel like there's no pressure to make money. I feel like that's how we're going to get better sequels. I feel like if Brightburn went right to VOD, then we wouldn't even be worried about a sequel coming out. We would just get a sequel.
My opinion, the three best horror movies anyway that have ever gone straight to video: Trick or Treat, Behind the Mask, and The Final Girls.
That's my opinion. I could see that argument. Movies. I mean, maybe we should we should all compile a list in the next few weeks and give all of ours, because I'm sure there's other ones out there. But I like that list. That's a good list to start with.
It is. It's gonna be tough to top.
It is.
All right. So the other really big news that came out about a week ago, right after we did our show. I don't think it's really surprising news, but the DC streaming service has already canceled Swamp Thing, and it happened less than a week after they released it.
Wah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The story that came out is supposedly they didn't get all their tax credit
from
North Carolina.
Allegedly, reporters from North Carolina are saying that in the North Carolina papers they were rating, was they filmed in North Carolina, that North Carolina was going to give them $14 million to film there. And because of some kind of oversight by the council, they were only able to give them like $14 million. And they spent $80 million on season 1. Yeah. And they thought that they were only spending $40 million. So that's what their excuse is. Although it's doing fine as far as the first few episodes that have come out. People really like it.
Yeah, I'm hearing good things about it.
And it's looking like Netflix or somebody might swoop in.
Let's hope so, because I know a lot of people, comic book fans in particular, are very upset about this. They seem to like it. Ron?
I know Ron was looking forward to this show.
Have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched it yet, but I wait until all of them are
until they're all there so you can binge it.
Them doing it once a week is stupid.
Yeah, DC Universe only does it.
It's so TV.
Yeah, they do it like TV release on DC Universe for some reason.
Especially with what they're charging? Come on.
Oh, I know. I'm with you.
That's ridiculous.
Especially when there was people who... This was one of the ones when they said, this is what we're going to open with. They're like, we're going to open with Titans, the live-action Titans. Awesome.
Which is so good.
We're going to open with Doom Patrol. Awesome, and people like both of them. We're gonna, and then we're gonna lead into Swamp Thing and this Harley Quinn animated show and Young Justice season 3 and et cetera, et cetera. So they built this hype train up. Like, okay, when we launch, we have all this cool product because they do. They have the Batman movies are on there. You have
the Superman
movies are on there. All the animated movies are on there,
except for the two newest. The Batman and Turtles one isn't on there.
Okay, well, yeah, that just came out though, so give it time. It'll be probably on there. So like all this stuff is on there. That's cool, and we're launching with these cool, but the reason to get is these cool shows we're gonna have,
right?
Titans, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing. I remember seeing the damn graphics, and that's how they portrayed it. So now you're taking one of those pillars, and then the animated ones, so Young Justice and Harley Quinn. So you're taking out of those 5 original pillars that people got excited about. You're automatically like, okay, we're going to give you the whole 10 episode season, and then we're going to take it away from you.
Well, I thought I read something somewhere, and I can't remember who it was, but there was some other company, like a parent company to the streaming service, is like talking about restructuring already. They're trying to like combine it into what
DC
they already
is still
have.
owned by Warner Brothers, correct?
Yeah,
I do believe they're still owned by Warner Brothers.
I can't remember what it was. It might have been a Warner Brothers. Some streaming service was talking about already restructuring it and taking away that and making it like a subcategory on some other streaming service.
Well, Warner Media is tentatively thinking about launching their own streaming service.
Maybe
Warner
that's
Media
what it was. I know I read something about
currently
it.
Right now, Warner Brothers parent company, of course, is Warner. So Warner Media currently has, like, for the wrestling nerds who listen to 3FN Wrestling, thank you. If you don't, it comes out every late Thursday, early Friday. And not to interrupt you, I think it might have had something to do with AT&T because they bought. Well, yeah, they bought
Time Warner.
They're into Time. Yeah, they bought.
So
AT&T is the parent
AT&T.
company. But still, Warner Media, which is owned by AT&T. Anyways, they own, like, for wrestling, this is where it's coming in. BR Live, which is Bleacher Report, has a streaming site, BR Live. They do all the streaming for AEW, which is signed a deal with Warner Media to be on TNT in the fall.
Right.
That's the second largest wrestling company in the States when it launches fully. So they have a deal there. So what Warner Media has been talking about is, hey, why don't we just take everything and put it together, to combat like the Disney Pluses and the Netflixes and, et cetera of the world. Hulu, of course, which you can tie in with Disney Plus because that's really what. I mean, pretty soon you're going to be able to have probably, I would think, a package with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus.
Right.
Which gives you everything you've ever wanted because it gives you the UFC, it gives you, the rated R stuff on Hulu, and it gives you Disney Plus.
For only your liver and your kidney.
Mind you, well, no, actually, they're real low priced.
Is it really?
Like, Disney Plus is what, $6.99.
Is that all?
$6.99 was going to be Disney Plus. Yep. And they were talking about doing for $15.99. There's a rumor, this is just rumor now, doing all of those streaming services together: Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN
That's
Plus
a good deal.
for $15.99. So the
that's
same price that you pay for Netflix pretty soon would be you get 3 streaming services.
Right.
So everybody else is trying to gear up to take on Disney because Disney's the monster on the block. I mean, come on, they own Star Wars, they own Marvel, they own their own property, they own 20th Century Fox. Like, they are the big muscle. Like, they gobble up IPs. Not to mention because of the Fox deal, because Fox didn't realize that The Simpsons was 20th Century Fox's property and not just Fox's property. They own The Simpsons, which technically is the second biggest IP that they own. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, like they own everything. There's really not much IP they don't own.
Right.
And so now everybody's trying to combat that in ways. And I know that there's a talk of, like, Cinemax, Showtime, and HBO joining forces to do some kind of streaming service with their combined power to go up against some of these other streaming sites. It's strange. It's strange. It's a strange world.
I mean, I think they should just leave it how it is with this, because they have everything on here. They got Lois and Clark, the New Adventure Superman. They got everything from Super Friends to Teen Titans to The Batman, Justice League, the Green Lantern series that died off soon, all the way down to the pilot episode for Aquaman from when it was CW, when it was Smallville, when they tried to get that off.
Is Batman the animated series on there?
Yeah, Batman the animated
greatest cartoon ever.
It's also on Amazon.
I have them all on DVD. But yeah,
Legends of the Superheroes from
so
1979.
Oh, wow.
Yep. The Batman's on here. Batman Beyond's on here. And then you got you can read comics.
Yeah, you can read comics on this service.
So
interesting.
It's worth it just with that. And then I'm just trying to push it into other things is what's...
Yeah.
Well, one more piece of DC news before I think we're going to take a break. It was announced today that Sci-Fi is actually developing a new Lobo series.
Yes. Of course, Lobo was most recently on
Krypton. Which is also season 1. You can binge watch on DC.
Oh, yeah. You can watch it on DC Universe. Yeah. It's also on Sci-Fi if you want. Yep. Season 2 should be starting soon-ish. I don't know. I think probably in the fall. Is it the fall or is it the summer?
I've been seeing commercials for it.
I think it's the summer.
I think it started.
I might have. I
think it's the summer.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm not.
I forget.
I forget. I thought it looked amazing. I felt. I don't know. I felt the same way about
it premieres tonight.
Oh, it premieres tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, even better. So I feel this way about. The reason why I'm not totally in is because I feel the same way about Gotham as I do about Krypton. Like your Superman story without Superman, just like a Batman story without Batman. Kind of, I'm not in. But I like the look of it. Lobo looks cool. Brainiac looked cool in season 1. So the fact that they're thinking about throwing in Lobo. Good stuff.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't watched it, so. But yeah, it does look cool. I mean, that's kind of what I thought it was going to be like. Was basically like Gotham, which I loved. Yeah, I know you weren't.
That's fine. That's fine. Everybody has their picks, man.
Right.
I don't judge anybody for it. But Lobo. If you don't know how he fits in with Finn the Horror, Lobo's kind of like a werewolf in a way. He's a man that is also a Lobo. I'm trying to go simplistic. Yeah. Ron, do you want to dive deeper into it?
He's just a bounty hunter and a space bounty hunter, basically, and he's kind of Deadpool-ish with his healing factors. So it's
and that's with the name and stuff. They give him kind of like they kind of tease like that's how it fits into the horror comic realm, if you will.
He just goes around and he just fights everybody,
and now he's directly in the DC Black Label, which is the adult versions of DC Comics, which they have some cool stuff coming out under Black Label, so it's good stuff. So if you like, because like Marvel has always had a darker edge to it. What do they call the new Marvel one? It used to be
there was Marvel Knights for a while, and there was.
They keep changing it.
I know,
because I remember when it was Marvel Knights, and then there was Marvel Uncensored for a little bit. There's a couple weird. They keep once again Marvel before Disney took over, and even slightly like Disney's tried to streamline everything, but before Disney took over, they would change their stuff all the time. Whereas DC's pretty.
That's the one thing about DC Comics. Like they just keep we have this and this. There you go. Because it used to be variant.
And then once they
then now they want the Black Label, so that's fine. Now in Marvel it's Marvel, and then it had Marvel. Well, I forget what it was. It was Marvel Knights was the bar because that was Ghost Rider,
Punisher, Moon Knight,
all those characters.
Deadpool.
And so I think it's still sticking with the Knight.
It might be. It was kind of just a weird thing with Marvel. They changed it, but DC the Black Label is great. Like he said, it used to be Variant Comics, which was owned by DC, and then they just decided, hey, let's not have two different names. We'll just go to DC Black. And underneath DC Black is a lot of your horror ones. Swamp Thing's actually under DC Black these days.
What about the new Deceased?
No, the Deceased comics.
Yeah,
aren't under. They're not under Black. Those are actually under just the regular DC brand, and it's fun. It's kind of like I've been reading some of it up. I haven't. There's only 2 books out, and it's a 6-book run. I'll do a full review when they all come out. Give everybody time to read it, but so far so good. It's kind of their version of, to an extent. I know it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of their version of Marvel Zombies. So what happens when the DC universe gets kind of twisted on end, where the superheroes become kind of and they're not zombies in this. They're more like they're become kind of like, some of them have like vampiristic powers. Everyone has different powers, but it's like based on supernatural beings. The cool part is, and I'm gonna get it framed and hang it in the studio, is the cover for the second one. The second variant is a Nightmare on Elm Street-esque with Poison Ivy and Batman.
Yeah,
so it looks
awesome.
like the poster from the first Nightmare on Elm Street, only with Batman is like the outline of what Freddy would be, and Poison Ivy takes the place of Nancy, and has the same tagline, only as, you know, if Ivy doesn't sleep, or if Ivy falls asleep, she'll never wake up, is the tagline underneath it. So it's really kind of like a cool throwback, and they've done each one is going to have a variant that's horror, and I'm trying to get a hold of all the variants because I might do a little montage in here, because it touches base on everything we do, whether it's Three Fat Nerds or Horror Zone 607, mixing the nice comics and, you know, together.
I'd put them right above the window.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Because you put all 6 up there with them.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
so I need to get the first variant because I missed that one, but I'm sure when the next time I go to New York City, I'll have no problem finding it at Midtown Comics. So
Nice.
yeah, so far so good. Like I said, I'll do a full review, give everybody time to come out. It is cool if you like horror movies and you like comics. It's actually a really cool mixture. Like I said, I compare it to Marvel Zombies in a nice way. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of the same concept where things are just getting flipped upside down.
Nice. All right. Well, as always, check us out on Facebook at Horror Zone 607, and check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Horror Zone 607. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more news we're going to go over. But yeah, we'll be right back with all that. You're listening to Horror Zone 607.
Welcome back to the zone, and we have a little bit more news for you. Especially this week is a big week for all the nerds out there because E3 is still going on, and we've got some horror news out of E3 as a couple of survival horror games have been announced. First of which, and I think the biggest announcement of all, would be the Blair Witch game coming very soon to Xbox. Is confirmed so far. I'm not sure if anybody else is on board.
PC.
It's also going to be on PC. Okay, and there's a trailer online, and it's creepy.
It looks awesome, dude.
It looks
I
like
cannot
you're right in
believe
a movie.
that they have not done this sooner.
Oh, neither can I.
20 years since that movie came out. We've gotten 2 sequels to it, and no video game? Not like this?
No.
I don't think there's been a game at all.
I don't think.
If there was, it wasn't anything
I don't
like this.
remember it.
No,
This looks awesome.
There's no game. I mean, I think this is after the Friday the 13th game came out and worked, and then
Yeah.
Days Gone is working.
Well, I was gonna say, I think all the survival horror movies or the horror games, like, you know,
Yeah, with them, with the insertion of them,
Right.
That'd be like, okay, what properties can we use?
yeah, and this fits right into their things. That's why I said survival horror is becoming good. I mean, Alien Isolation came out and it was good. What is it? Dead by Daylight. There's been a lot of like
Dead by Daylight is supposed to be really good.
Yeah, there's been a lot of cool ones out there, and I think they're just kind of capitalizing on all of that to go in like between horror and survival horror games. I mean, I've played most of them. I mean, I'm still playing the Friday the 13th game, even though it's fell out of popularity. But actually, it's come back. There's been a little resurgence of the Friday the 13th game. People are playing.
I'll have to log on.
Yeah, it's fun. And you have a lot more single player stuff and stuff like that now. They were able to add all that in now that they can't add content because of the damn lawsuit. At least we've got other forms that they could do. Also, you know, the Dead by Daylight, kind of the same kind of philosophy. The only thing I like better about Friday the 13th than I like about Dead by Daylight is the The killer, when you're the killer at Dead by Daylight, it's in first person. I like being third person. Like, I like seeing that I'm Jason. And especially in Dead by Daylight, where you have Freddy Krueger, soon to be Ghostface, because that's one of the new things coming out, is Ghostface is the new adding in, and also Sidney Prescott. You also have Michael Myers, and then all the other original ones that they have. Like, there's a good list of people on there, and I would like to see them instead of just seeing, like, when you're Freddy, you can just see the claw go.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that when I played it. Friday the 13th, I got bored of it very quickly because it's just not my kind of game, but the graphics are great, the gameplay's great. Dead by Daylight, I thought it was real choppy and cheap looking. I wasn't a big fan of that. Great concept, but I just didn't like it. Very similar games.
But I mean, when you go into it, this is more like your survival horror games that we have out there. And
yes, the trailer made it kind of look a little bit like Resident Evil 7. Which was an amazing game.
Yeah,
I just
you're
replayed
be like
that recently, and such a great game.
Also, to that vein, actually more of a, I don't know, I think this would be more of a game that is more psychological, but more, same as Resident Evil's game called Ghostwire Tokyo. That also premiered at E3. It looks amazing. It looks like there's these light samurai things and people are just falling, like disappearing, like Thanos. Only their clothes don't disintegrate, so kind of the fixed version of Thanos. And it looks like you're trying to survive and not disappear. It looks really cool. That also is getting a lot of wind at E3, and of course, what's the Dying Light 2 is also coming out. That's also announced. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on Dying Light 2, but yeah, Dying Light 2 is finally announced and finally coming out, so we're going to be getting that game as well. So a lot of horror gaming news coming out of E3, which is a surprise, but not a surprise. Like you said, Ron, there's a lot of success in the horror genre and gaming now, so I'm not surprised, but I'm also surprised that they unleashed it at E3, because a lot of times at E3 they don't talk about these things.
Right.
A lot of times they're just like, it's just like in movies, it's like the bastard child to the corner, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, when else are you gonna really put it? There's really nothing else really coming out.
Yeah, I have a feeling that
nothing
Blair
else
Witch
coming
game,
out on E3.
that Blair Witch game is going to be good.
Like overall, I mean,
Nintendo shook the foundation for not showing up as a platform. They shook the foundation. We'll talk about it next week on Three Fat Nerds because it came out after this week's podcast. But Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, plus the remake of another Legend of Zelda, plus Banjo-Kazooie and Smash Bros. They got a lot of news.
Dragon Quest, the download Dragon Quest character hero from... Legend of Zelda, I'm over with, dude. I'm done.
That's you.
I'm done.
For those of us who still like Nintendo, we're not over it. It's fun. Breath of the Wild was one of the best games.
I'll put the best one in Link of the Past in my old Nintendo and play that.
Ocarina of Time is mine, so...
So once again, Breath of the Wild was an amazing game. I'm just throwing it out there. Open world Zelda game, amazing game. And you can play. And when we complain about games being too short, you can play that game for hundreds of hours and still not accomplish everything. Wow, it's crazy. But Mike, I heard you had some breaking news before I continue on.
Yeah, some breaking news this afternoon. It came out right before we started recording today. A company called BN Media Group. They actually own the Miramax property right now, which was formerly owned by Bob and Harvey Weinstein. They are going to be selling up to 50% of Miramax. So this could have a huge impact, somewhat on Halloween as well, because it might make it easier for sequels to come out, but the Scream series also.
Jason Blum's ears just tingled and he bought it already.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? If Blumhouse doesn't buy this, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I would be too.
If as soon as they announced it was for sale, I'm sure Jason Blum made a check and said, here. I'm being serious because he's already talked about rebooting Scream. He's already done the reboot of Halloween. Blumhouse will buy Miramax. Yeah. That'll be it. And he'll have the properties and then he can do what he wants. And I don't even think there's a hands down unless somebody outbids him, and I doubt that. After that whole Halloween stuff, I'm sure that Blumhouse will pull together whatever they need to put it together. And Blumhouse has some pretty deep connections to some other major companies. Yeah. So I'm sure that they will have no problem coming up with funds.
Yeah, be interesting.
So I would assume that we will hear probably next week we'll be reporting that Blumhouse is the new owner of Miramax.
Let's hope so.
Owner. Because like I said, I don't think they're going to lose the properties they want to make. They've already said that they wanted to reboot Scream and start it over, although they were going to use his idea was to use the original cast still to restart and then kind of like pass the baton. And we've already seen they've already restarted Halloween, and there's a sequel already in the works. So therefore, they're not going to let this go away. I don't think you're going to see it fall off their plate, because if they had their choice, they would probably buy Friday the 13th now and get us all out of this.
Right.
Which that would probably be I've said it before. We need to kind of like get that going. Maybe on the internet, whatever. Pound it out if you're listening to this, to get Blumhouse or whoever's backing them to just somehow just throw money at Victor Miller and everybody. If we throw enough money at both sides, maybe we can just buy the property from all of them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if it's only about money, let's find out what the number is and just get that dollar amount, because you're going to make that money back. And, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, Blumhouse has, ties to Universal.
Right.
And so it wouldn't be a shock to me if they didn't dig deep and do something like that.
Yeah, I believe he's also said in the past, too, he's trying to get a hold of Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which would be amazing after the direction that's gone.
Mm-hmm. He wants all of it. And he's even going to be heading up the relaunch of the Universal Dark Universe.
Yeah.
That's already been put out there. They're going to let him take it over. As I think we reported on this show even that the first one up was The Invisible Man. Right?
The Invisible Man's first one up.
So Blumhouse is already, like I said, deep pockets. They're in with Universal.
Yeah.
That's where they were before, and I'm sure that they will be partial owners of Miramax. And I'm sure that going forward, they will also probably be trying to get their hands on any IP they can in the horror world. Which I say take it, because a lot of it's been mismanaged. Hence why we have no Friday the 13th movie other than fan films.
Can you imagine the shared universe that they could have? The movie, the Avengers-esque movie that they could have if they had, say, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all of the original dark universe, movies from Universal. Can you imagine the what they could do? I don't know that I'd want to personally see that, because I prefer individual movies.
It would be awesome.
Can you imagine that?
But the problem's going to run into New Line, because New Line out of all those is not selling.
No,
and New Line owns the properties of some. However, there was talks. And
they have Nightmare.
There was that. I was going to say there was those talks though that Jason Blum was interested in doing a remake of Nightmare, and that they were on board possibly, and kind of like that Spider-Man is owned by Sony and Marvel makes their movies,
right?
And I don't know. I assume that if I put it this way, if the next few Blumhouse productions come out to what they've come out to, then absolutely that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If they do the numbers or relatively close to the numbers that Halloween did, it's happening. He'll get whatever property he wants, because what studio is going to turn down making money hand over fist?
Right.
It doesn't happen. The only people doing that are the people who own Friday the 13th, because they keep fighting about it, which is ridiculous. Once again, somebody just needs to swoop in and say, hey, I'm going to leave this here, write the number that it takes that you would split, that we could just take the property, so at least somebody who is interested in making movies could do a movie.
Right.
Like, that's maybe what somebody needs to do, and the fans need to come down harder on all parties involved. Maybe. I'm just saying, because it's kind of shitty that everything's getting rebooted, everything's having another day in the sun, and the one biggest franchise that everybody obviously wants to see, because we keep talking about the awesome fan films that are coming out.
Yeah,
Moose Jaws.
Which, by the way, Lar Park Lincoln and Adrian King have now joined 13 Fanboy.
Exactly.
More news that came out today.
Once again, and we keep plugging these things because they look awesome, and why aren't we getting an awesome real Friday the 13th reveal? Because people are fighting about.
I'm kind of surprised the 13 Fanboy is more of just a fan film with the cast that they're putting together.
Listen, man,
sounds like a major release.
Fan films, as you know, have come a long way, man.
Yeah, they have.
They're casted now. I mean, there's some of these fan films are made in the tunes of millions of dollars.
Yeah, but that's like not even a fan film at this point. I mean, that thing that's got to have some major funding behind it to get the actors that they've gotten.
No, or it's the actors coming in saying, hey, let's keep this alive,
keep it going,
while this stuff is going.
See, the nice part about a franchise like that, and Ronald, I think we can all attest to this, is that you feel linked to that franchise, so you'll come and do stuff. I.e., think about it, Johnny Depp came back to Nightmare on Elm Street even.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that brings us back into Freddy's Dead, which we always get back there somehow on this show, but he came back.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is. I mean, it's just something that happens in horror. I really think that people like to pay homage to where they came from, especially if there was a break. And that's the way a lot of people in the Nightmare series and the Friday the 13th series look at it. They look at each other like family. We know from me doing the interview at ScaraCon last year where I did the Nightmare on Elm Street panel, they weren't even in the same movies. They didn't act together at all, but they all consider themselves family because they're part of the Nightmare on Elm Street family. They're all Freddy's kids, as they say, because they were in those movies and they take pride in it. And anybody who's ever been in them, they all get along and they take pride in that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's something, and it's the same in the Friday the 13th. So it's not hard to get some of those people in because they're probably taking a big time, massive pay cut. If some of them are probably not even taking any pay at all. They're just saying, hey, I want to add something to it because they know that the legacy is going to go to crap while they're fighting in court about it.
Right.
We need to put something out for the fans.
Right.
And it's great because we got about 6 or 7 of them coming out that all look good, by the way.
They do.
They all look good. Voorhees looks good. 13 Fanboy looks good. We know we're getting
Friday the 13th Vengeance.
Yep. We're also getting the sequel to Never Hike Alone, as we know.
Yeah.
That's going to feature, Tommy Jarvis. It's good stuff. We're getting some really cool stuff from filmmakers that wouldn't normally get an opportunity to make one of these movies. So I guess at the same point, juncture, it sucks to not see the big screen version. It's kind of cool that we're going to get to see some new ideas. Because, Vengeance has taken Friday the 13th in a whole nother direction.
Yeah, it's going to have Elias Voorhees in it.
No, that's Voorhees that has Elias. Vengeance is the one that has the girl. It kind of looks like Last House on the Left, if you will. The girls get kidnapped. Those people are trying to make it.
I thought the Vengeance was the sequel to Part 6.
No, that was Voorhees.
I'm confused now. There's too many of them.
There's too many. Yeah, maybe we got it wrong. But anyways, because I do believe it's Voorhees, because the Voorhees one has Voorhees across and it has the Elias's face and Jason's.
See, I thought that was Vengeance.
It's just too many. It's too many. I'm pretty sure it was Voorhees.
Maybe they're all going to be one movie and we'll just be a big surprise.
But either way, it's a good thing if we're getting them confused. Not for the creators. Watch both of them because they both look good. One of them is kind of like a Last House on the Left vibe, where it looks like Jason is the Avenger, and the other one is continuing the storyline from Part 6, where you have the father of Jason coming back to town,
played by C.J. Graham, who played Jason in Part 6.
And then of course you go into 13 Fanboy. Members of the Friday the 13th family are getting murdered. It's not even Jason.
Yeah,
but it's still good.
Yeah,
it's still good. Of course, Never Hike Alone. We're going to get to see Tommy Jarvis versus Jason Voorhees again.
Yeah, I can't wait for that too.
Full on drag out fight of the century in an MMA cage with Bruce Buffer announcing
in a steel cage in a ladder match.
But yeah,
sure. So I got a couple more things here. Escape room news. There's going to be a sequel coming out, but the release date was pushed back from April 17th of 2020 to August 14th of 2020. So it's going to take a little bit longer before we get to see the sequel to Escape Room.
Yeah. But it's still coming out. It made over $100 million. So yeah, there was no doubt it was coming out. They announced it right after it made $100 million. So I think the pushback is probably for a better time of year.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I think that's probably a good move.
It's April to August. August is starting to get closer to that fall season.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
I think it's a good move. I know you had some more streaming service news.
Yeah, we have announcing this week that Steven Spielberg looks like he is coming back to the world of creepy and super scary, because he's going to be on Quibi. Is that how we decided? Quibi is how we're going to say it. Sorry if we're wrong. Of course, Quibi is being done by Jeffrey Katzenberg. It's going to be an on-demand service. Katzenberg was a former partner with Spielberg and DreamWorks, and he said that in a news release that Spielberg has written 4 or 5 chapters of a 10 to 12 chapter weekly episodic kind of scary show. They're going to be about 15-minute long because everything on Quibi is like 5 to 15 minutes long. It's like short films and such. So the catch to this, and the interesting catch to this, is that Spielberg wants Quibi subscribers to only be able to watch it at midnight. So they're going to do something in their system where you can only watch this show at midnight. So from midnight to 1 or whatever, you can binge watch, and then you can't watch anymore. It's kind of a neat little gimmick. I've never seen something like that before. I also think it could also hurt it a little bit, but who knows? Quibi, for all of you interested, is launching in the U.S. on April 6, 2020, and it'll cost $4.99 a month. They do have they're pushing out $1 billion in content for launch, and everything is actually, sorry, I lied. Everything is somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes long. So they have 25 to 35 is the demographic they're going for, 7 to 10 minutes long on everything. And they have a show coming out that they've already announced called #Free Ray Sean, and it stars Stephen James and Lawrence Fishburne. Nice. So good cast. So I look forward to seeing some stuff there. So good on them, and keep your eye out for Quibi coming out next year. Also, Netflix has announced that Love, Death, and Robots is getting season 2. If you guys don't know what that is, then I don't know. I know that it was a really good show. This year was 18 episodes. Don't worry, they're not hour-long episodes. They're about 15 minutes, and they're all animated. A lot of them deal with horror and sci-fi.
Yeah, it was a good watch. It's the first one was that really got me. It's just 3 robots walking around apocalyptic city, and they're just talking about it.
That's it.
And then you meet the cat overlords at the end. It's actually worth that one alone's worth a watch by itself.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like 10 minutes.
Huh.
There's a bunch that are like 5. There's one about yogurt that takes over the world. It's about 6 minutes long.
Interesting.
Worth a watch.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I mean, they list them at 15 minutes, but some of them are only 5 minutes,
Yeah,
some are 10 minutes. But they're little short animated stuff.
And not for kids. There's nudity. There's sex. There's nudity. It goes all the way through the line. So.
Okay.
Great.
So, yeah, it's gotten rave reviews
Yeah.
on Netflix. Season 1 has. So, it's no surprise we're getting a season 2, but Netflix has confirmed season 2 will come next year. So, for all those fans, if you have not watched it yet, Ron puts a stamp of approval on it. Watch Love, Death, and Robots. Right now, season 1 is streaming on Netflix. Then that brings us to some Shudder news to end out this news format. This is kind of fun. Mike, give us the details about the Shudder news.
Yeah, so Cranked Up and Shudder are presenting an event called An Evening of Nightmares. It's going to be coming up this Thursday, Friday, June 14th. It's going to be at the Dynasty Typewriter at the Hayworth in Los Angeles. Basically, it's going to be showing, and they have this wrong on here, so I'm reading this article off of here. It says Thursday, June 14th. It would be Friday, June 14th. So sorry about that. But basically, they're going to be showing 3 movies. It's going to be a triple feature hosted by legendary horror filmmakers. 5:30 p.m., Juan of the Dead. 7:05 p.m., the cult classic Sleepwalkers. And, of course, at 8:40 p.m., Piranha, which was directed by the great Joe Dante. And from 10:10 p.m. till 10:30 p.m., there's also going to be a QA with the directors of all 3 movies, including Joe Dante.
Oh, that's awesome. You get a chance to maybe ask a question to Joe Dante.
Exactly. So it sounds like a cool event. So those of you that are in the Los Angeles area or are going to be traveling there, check it out.
And let's be honest, the reason that I wanted this brought up in the news, because I definitely picked this to be brought up in the news, is because when are we going to ever get a chance to talk about the cinematic classic that is Sleepwalkers ever again? It took till today. I was today old when I learned that they were supposed to be vampires.
Yes, me too. No, I thought the same thing with cat people.
Well, rat people. I thought rat people because, of course, the cats attacked them. But you had a good point about that, Ron.
Well, I thought they were cat people. That's why all the cats showed up. But it's actually because if you go into the deep lore of vampire, it is vampires don't like cats for some reason,
And vice versa.
And
the cats are
and
not scared.
that might play in one of the episodes of Love, Death, and Robots. People, just saying.
But coming back into that though, it makes sense because in the movie the cat attacks the one, and then at the end, let's just say, well, there's not like a spoiler alert for a movie from 1992, and plus it's a crap movie. At the end, the cats get a nice little meal.
Yep.
A nice little meal. That's a little ending teaser for you guys if you've never seen Sleepwalkers before. And if you've never seen Sleepwalkers before, count yourself amongst the lucky. Because the fact that they call that movie a cult classic, and the fact that there's people who actually like that movie, I'm kind of curious. So if you're one of those people, please do me a favor and write into our show. It's Horror Zone 607 on Facebook. It's at Horror Zone 607 on Twitter and Instagram. Hashtag HD607 to talk about the show. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I kind of want to know what the pitch is. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to be an asshole. I just kind of want to know why you love that movie. Just out of curiosity.
Maybe the double feature. Maybe we take out Piranha, we take out Juan of the Dead. It probably should have been a double feature with Mac and Me.
Ooh.
I think that would have been more in line.
Well, we are getting a Gremlins reboot. By the way. That rumor is now out there. I don't think Joe Dante has anything to do with it.
I think he does.
He wrote it. Does he? Did he?
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying? Is he wrote it?
I believe so.
Well,
I saw something about it recently.
Okay, that's fine.
You surprised me with that, so I don't have my homework.
No, that's fine.
I'm pretty sure.
You know how much I consume in reading, so sometimes I don't. So I hope he has something to do with it because I love Joe Dante and I love his work. But Joe Dante did not have anything to do with Sleepwalkers. Just throwing that out there. He's only out there for Piranha. I want to save the great name of Joe Dante. But yeah, if you guys do like Sleepwalkers, please write in. And like I said, there's no judgments. I just kind of want to know what the allure to the movie is. I understand that a lot of people love the Stephen King book version of it, which is a lot different because, as we know, anytime there's an adaptation of book to movie, it's always different.
Yeah. But I just never put 2 and 2 together with that.
Yeah, I always thought they were like cat or rat
I watched
people.
it one time when I was in my teens when they came out in that 92. Yeah. So yeah.
Incest love between
there was incest
cat/rat people. I'm just saying.
I mean, why wouldn't there be?
I'm almost tempted to rewatch it.
I think we should. Mike's never seen it, so maybe we should get together on what. Like, first of all, we need to start getting together on these movie nights. Maybe once a month we'll set aside a time to watch some movies together. Maybe on one of them we'll just watch some real bad ones because I want to watch good ones too. Or actually, maybe we'll mix it in.
I'll get Luke to show up because he'll watch those.
Here's what the thing is. What we do is we mix it in. We do a good one, a bad one, and then another good one. So that way we're at least sandwiching with good ones. And then we watch. So we'll watch, that Cat Mungo movie you want us to watch. We'll watch that. Then we'll watch Sleepwalkers because then at least you got to see a good movie before it. And then we'll watch a good movie after it. Let's take another pick of one. And that way we can watch and then we can talk about it on the podcast the following week. And we can have the listeners watch, and they can send in questions and stuff and thoughts that we can read on the air. Right. I mean, that'd be fun. But yeah, we should do that sometime.
I think that'd be
Sleepwalkers cannot be. I don't think we can do all crappy movies in one night because I would probably fall asleep or leave before the end of all three. But definitely to watch sandwich it, I'd be all right.
Yeah,
I'd be all right.
I'm in.
And you've never seen that one, so that fits in. So it will fit into at least somebody in the room hasn't seen it.
I feel like I have seen part of it. If I did, I know I didn't watch the whole thing.
They have a 60s soundtrack, 60s and 50s soundtrack to it.
Because it's got the old convertible.
Mm-hmm. I could be confusing it with Skinwalkers too. I don't know.
You could be. Two different movies, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, they just go into the mom and son move into the new town just to get their virgin.
Sure.
Virgin fixin', brother.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what they were looking for. That's why I never put two and two together that it was
vampires. Neither did I. They don't look like vampires, and I when we rewatch this, I'll have to pay attention. I don't think they ever mentioned them as being vampires.
They don't, because I would have remembered that.
Yeah, because they look like cat/rat people.
Cat people. I always thought it was like this cat.
Like when they do the human form of them, they look like cats. Like the facial features come like cats. They kind of remind me of the makeup for the Beauty and the Beast TV show from the 80s.
Yeah.
When they do the other form of them, where they are in their natural form, they look like rats because they're big naked, like rat-looking things. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Sure,
but we'll definitely watch it.
I'm in
because why not? Why not?
But
if you like the movie, I'm still putting it out there. Horizon 607 on Facebook, at Horizon 607 on Twitter, hashtag HD607. Let us know. If you have any comments about anything else, also feel free to throw in your information because we like talking to you guys. While you're there, also rate and review our Facebook page. Help us out. Give us some 5-star ratings. Help us up. Tell people why they should pay attention to Horizon 607. And also make sure you're sharing our podcast because we'd love to have more listeners. Algeria is kicking up their game, man. Come on, it's the U.S.
Are we like 301st?
We're like 350th. So
wow.
We've moved up 19 spots.
Nice.
Pretty good stuff.
Thank you, Algeria.
Algeria stepping up the game, leading the charge.
All right, we're going to take our last break here. When we come back, we're going to be doing my favorite segment in the show. We're going to talk some horror. So we will be right back. You're listening to Horror Zone 607.
All right, welcome back to the zone. It's time to talk some horror, and this week we've done this periodically before, and we've kind of gone through decades and such of like favorite horror movies of decades and etc. And we've teased it before, and now we're just kind of jump into it. We're going to go by years. And we decided to start in 1980. So here's what's going to happen. What we're going to do is it's not a list. It's not going to be the top 10 horror movies in 1980. We're not doing it that way. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to look at the movies that came out in 1980. Some of them will be lesser known movies. A lot of them will be more known movies. And we're just going to kind of give our opinions, not reviews, but opinions of those movies. And hopefully that kind of turns on a conversation with you guys. And if it's something that you would be interested in, maybe in the future we might do some movie nights featuring some of these movies. So we always want to hear your opinions. And if you want to visit the Facebook page, HorrorZone607, or tweet us at HorrorZone607. Remember to use the hashtag HD607. Go ahead and comment and talk about some of these movies. Some of these might be your favorite movie, and we would like to hear that. And some of these you might absolutely hate and loathe. We'd like to hear that too. Even amongst us, there's movies on these lists that Mike likes and I don't, and that Ron likes and that he doesn't. And some of us have seen, and some of them we haven't seen. So we're just going to go through and kind of like spot a spotlight. But we figured we'd start in the golden age of horror, which to us is the decade of the 1980s.
Right.
1980 to 1989, the golden age of horror. So we're going to start there. We're going to kind of go, mind you, this is not going to be every week for the next 10 weeks, periodically, but over the next few months, we will work our way through the 80s every so often doing this segment. So we're going to start in 1980, and then eventually I think we're going to go backwards too. We'll go 1980s, we'll probably do the 1990s, then maybe we'll jump back to the 70s, and then we'll go into the 2010s again, because we've done that before as a long form list, but we haven't gone year by year.
Yeah, we did the 90s too, but
yeah,
be a little bit different.
But going year by year, we can showcase some stuff that didn't make the top of the list, or even make, because something like Sleepwalkers wasn't making that list at all.
No,
and
it was
when
not
we did the
on
90s,
that list.
And that came out in 1992. So when we talk about 1992, maybe that'll be the second time ever you hear us talk about Sleepwalkers, but that probably won't be for another 6 months.
I think we should bring it up every week now.
Well, no, that spot belongs to Freddy's Dead for good reason.
Yeah, and also Crystal Reed.
Oh, well, yes. Crystal Reed is in that spot.
I digress.
Yes. So now we're going to jump into 1980. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over to Mike. Mike's got it written down. He's going to list it. Mind you, these are in no order. We're not doing these in any order, so I don't want you guys to think that the first one he lists is our favorite or the least favorite. No order at all. And we're just going to talk about it. Once again, not full-on review, but we're going to talk about it. If there's something you want to see us full-on review, once again, that's what the Twitter and Facebook is for. Also, join the conversation. We'd like to hear your thoughts. These are just going to be brief thoughts on every movie that we came across from 1980 and whether you should watch it or not, in our opinion.
Right. So I'll start off with probably the only DVD I ever gave away after watching the movie. I gave it to our good friend Luke. Disturbed me to no end, and that would be the original Maniac.
Oh, it's so good. See, I'm the opposite on you on this. I love Maniac. I think it's a great movie. Of course, the makeup in that movie done by the great Tom Savini. As a matter of fact, Tom Savini has one of the greatest death scenes ever in the history of film in that movie.
Yeah.
Which is a shotgun blast to the head that he sat in on, and it was his head that exploded.
He was actually the one that was running up the hood of the car and did the shooting.
He shot himself.
He shot himself.
It's so good.
The practical effects in that are unlike anything I've ever seen. Very realistic, and it was very disturbing.
Synopsis of the movie real quick. It is about a loner. He's kind of a lonely guy. He doesn't really kind of equate to people too well. He starts to kind of stalk women. He does get a love interest in the movie, but while he's doing this, he's also stalking women in New York City, and he scalps them after he kills them.
Yeah,
it's pretty brutal. And then
he puts their scalps on mannequins.
Yes, that's as well. Yes, and the girl that he ends up crushing on is one that got away, believe it or not.
Yeah.
He was stalking her and then kind of had a soft spot, and then they start talking. And later on, she, of course, discovers his grisly doings. And it's a good movie. It's a good watch. It is disturbing. It is very graphic. But it's one of those movies that you definitely should watch.
Yeah, if you like practical effects, this one is for you.
Savini does an amazing job.
Yeah, he really does. Next up is a movie I've never actually seen before, but I've heard a lot about, and that would be Cannibal Holocaust.
Ooh, I have seen this, and I have seen there was huge controversy with Cannibal Holocaust when it came out. People thought it was a real-life snuff film. The synopsis of this film is that it's a group of scientists who are traveling through the Amazon who come across a group of Aborigines, Aborigines are in Australia. So, native people who have never seen technology or the white man, if you will. They come into this area, and they think that they're preparing them for a meal, and they're not preparing them a meal. They are preparing them to be the meal, because this is a cannibal group. And believe it or not, it came under huge fire from the MPAA and also law authorities, because they thought it was a snuff film, to the point that they had to produce the actors who were in the movie so they would not arrest the director for killing people for real. true story. You don't get any better press than that. It is it's a gruesome movie. The PETA people are not fond of this movie because there is death of a few animals in the movie. Those are the only real deaths in the movie. So the PETA people do not like this movie too much. And so if you're one of them, don't avoid it because you're going to feel bad about it. But other than that, it's a good watch. It is another one of the brutal ones, and obviously it's graphic enough that people thought it was a snuff film. So once again, if you're a horror fan, it's worth a watch. It's a legendary movie. Ron?
No, I stumbled across this one. For me, it was a hard watch. I mean, I'm not one for all the guts and gore, but
from what I hear, it's like right up there with like the Turkish movie and things like that.
I made it through, but it was one and done for me.
Once again, I want to point out it was a snuff film. Like they thought it was a snuff film.
Yeah. See, I don't think that'd be my cup of tea as much as I love horror.
I get it. It's not for everybody, but if you find yourself that you like those realistic horror movies and a lot of cool special graphics, like practical, because this is all practical, it's not CGI. It's a good movie to watch. Yeah. It's a legendary horror movie.
Hostile style.
If you're into Hostile, you're into this. That's for sure. You have to have it. And I'm not a huge into the Hostile guys. I have seen this movie once. I've never watched it a second time. It is disturbing, but once again, I understand its place in the history of horror, and I also understand that it's got a really cool backstory. Let's be honest, right? Like when you arrest the director and producer of the movie and go, yeah, you're going to prison for murder, and you have to produce the actors to prove that this was not real. That is when you've won. You've won the day. That's better than even the Blair Witch scam when people thought Blair Witch was real.
Yeah, you gotta love this era. Not long before that was I Spit on Your Grave, which oh my god, we won't even get started about that.
Last House on the Left also kind of like it looks like a snuff film as well. There was a lot of stuff that blurred the lines between real and fake.
It really was. Next on my list, I have got one of the most underrated slasher movies, in my opinion, of all time. One of Jamie Lee Curtis's roles, Terror Train.
Yeah, great. Do you want to get the synopsis of this? Because I gave the synopsis of the other ones.
So Terror Train is pretty simple. When some high school kids play a prank on a young boy, I believe they're in middle school. It's been a while since I've seen it. I think they might be in middle school or early high school. Yeah. But they play a prank on a boy who has a crush on a girl. And when everything kind of comes clean, he finds out that they're just pranking him. I guess he ends up in like a mental hospital or something. They don't really know exactly what happens to him. I haven't seen the movie in so long I can't remember. But anyways, kind of fast forwards, the same students are going, I believe it's on New Year's Eve. They take a train. And it's just like a night of fun on a train. David Copperfield is there. He's doing magic.
That's true.
He's in this movie. But one by one, these people that were involved in the prank on this kid start getting murdered. Somebody wearing a strange-looking... He's got a couple different strange-looking masks that he uses. And... So, it's a pretty straightforward slasher synopsis.
Right. I was just going to say...
But it's got David Copperfield in it.
Yes, David Copperfield is in the movie. It's a good movie. I agree with you. It is an underrated slasher film. I agree that it should be watched. It's definitely up there. It's a good movie. So, and, of course, the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I think it was one of the... It was kind of getting towards the tail end of the Scream queening.
Well, the year later, I was going to say the year later, she's in Halloween too.
Yeah, but it was kind of the tail end of it. She started taking more serious roles or
shortly
comedic
thereafter.
roles.
I was going to say shortly thereafter, we're doing Trading Places,
exactly.
et cetera. But yeah. But at this point in juncture, I think that it's her second best movie, with Halloween being number one.
I disagree because there's a couple of other ones the same year that came out that had Jamie Lee in it. The next one is, I think Terror Train is better than this next one, but Prom Night.
Yes, Prom Night.
She was in Prom Night. She was good in that.
I'm saying she was in a bunch, but I still would stand by Terror Train being better than everything except for Halloween.
Right?
That's all I stand by. But yes, Prom Night. We've actually gone over. We've talked about the sequel. Well, not sequel. Sorry, the remake. On one of the other lists.
Unfortunately.
Synopsis of this is crazed killer kills some people on Prom Night.
Again, pretty straightforward.
There you go. I mean, I don't think we need to dive any further than that. That's really what happens. And it's the first. I do believe the original is better than the remake. I said that before, and I'll say it again. And it's definitely worth a watch. Great slasher movie. Once again, the great Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that is if it's something you want to see and you're interested in seeing it, it's worth purchasing, I would say. But there's a newer version that's on Blu-ray. Get that, because the older versions that are on DVD, like the one I have, they filmed it very poorly. It was very dark in a lot of scenes, and you can't even see what's going on. They cleaned it up.
Same with My Bloody Valentine, I would say. Even though that didn't come out in 1880, well, just plug that for that too. Get the newer, updated version of it on Blu-ray. They cleaned it up. It looks a lot nicer.
It's also got a lot of the deleted scenes in it. So.
And the deleted scenes are not cleaned up, by the way, because...
Yeah, they're pretty rough.
They're pretty rough, but it's because
it
shows that they were deleted.
Yeah.
But the actual movie itself is actually not as grainy and gritty as the original, so it's better to watch those versions. So I'm with Mike on that. Always if there's not like an updated version that gets touched up, it's always better to watch those, because some of these from the early 80s, they're rough.
They were
rough.
They were. Next on my list is one of my guilty pleasure movies. I love watching this every single October, once October hits, and that would be Motel Hell. Motel Hell. Cult classic.
I was going to say, you've talked about it before. Give the synopsis, Mike.
This one is basically, there's a girl stumbles across a hotel. I believe it's supposed to be in California. I know they filmed it in California. And she comes across a brother and sister that run this hotel. And she starts falling in love with the guy that owns the place. And... the sister, he's got a sister that's pretty strange, and little by little she starts she defends him, but other motorists come and go, and they kind of think he's weird, and she kind of keeps defending him. And basically what he's doing is he's taking any passersby, anybody that stops at this motel, or anybody that's even driving down the street, and he abducts them and buries them in the ground like they're plants to ripen them to basically kill them and make them into like sausage products, meat products.
Yes.
So it's actually kind of a campy, comedic.
Great
Ron's
premise,
rubbing his stomach right now.
Great premise.
I'm kind of hungry.
Hey, just remember, Soylent Green is people.
Yes, it is. But check out Motel Hell. It is a great, like I said, it's a guilty pleasure movie of mine. And it's got Cliff Clavin from Cheers in it.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. So moving on, the next one on my list is going to be one of, I think, everybody in this room's all-time favorites, should be anyway, and that would be Stephen King's, although it's not Stephen King's, The Shining.
It would be Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Stanley Kubrick's directed it.
Yes, and
Stephen King doesn't
he wrote the book.
Yeah.
Stephen King wrote the book. Stanley Kubrick directed it, and in a lot of people's opinions, and this is why Stephen King doesn't like this version, the movie is actually better than the book.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it is as well. I'm sorry, I know that's going to kill some of the literature fans out there, but I like the book. The movie version that Stanley Kubrick shot, way better. Reasons being is the things that he changed and the way he did it was great. Of course, we know how he tortured Shelley Long on this.
Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. Sorry, I said the wrong name there.
You were thinking of Cheers.
I was thinking about Cheers because you brought up Cheers. How funny is that? I went off topic because you thought you brought up Cheers. But yeah, Shelley Duvall, he tortured her during these.
Yeah.
She was talking about redoing scenes like 100 times, making her like making it so she couldn't sleep, all sorts of crazy stuff that he did to her to get the performance he wanted.
And he got it.
I mean, nowadays it probably would be illegal.
Probably.
Of course, one of the greatest characters ever brought to the screen would be Jack Nicholson. And his is an all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy.
Right.
Yeah. Him, of course, the most famous line of a movie possibly ever is in this movie. Here's Johnny as he axes his way through a door. The movie is so good. It keeps you off balance. I love some of the tricks that Kubrick used in this movie. I know I'm going into kind of a full review, and I'm kind of trying not to.
That's okay. It's a great movie to talk about.
I mean, just the way that they show different outside views of the outlook, and then inside is not the same, so it always disorients you. As the viewer, you're disoriented to where things are taking place, which helps with the movie. That was an amazing tool that he used.
And how many times do I talk about atmosphere on the show? I mean, I don't know that there's a better movie with when you talk about atmosphere.
I'm going to say, I will say
right up there.
This movie is probably in an artistic way, probably the most artistic horror movie of all time. I think it is. It's sharp, very art house. Yeah. It looks good, but it has the whole feelings you want. It has the suspense that you want. It has the atmosphere that you want. You have a sense of dread through most of this movie. You has probably the two creepiest side characters with the twins. That's pretty creepy. As a matter of fact, the fun part about that is we had two little girls at Scarecon last year dressed up as the twins from that, and that was during the Jeepers Creepers panel, which Derek was frozen on stage. And as you know, Derek from 3 Nerds is super scared of everything. Jonathan Breck, though, invited these twins to sit in the front row. They never broke character once. They held hands and stared blankly, never breaking character, and
they were just little girls?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
They were walking around the con at first before they didn't even see them yet.
Yeah.
They came by our table, and I'm there, doing PR stuff.
And giving out candy.
And they're just standing there like...
Just staring at you?
Just staring at you, and then they're like, do you want to come and play with us?
Ron's like, you're the best.
I'm like, dude, you need to find Diesel, the fat guy with the red beard, and just Sarah. So I think that's why they went up front. I'm like, I think he's on stage. I think that's why they went up there to look.
And John trained two little girls to act that way.
And then they just stared at him the whole time. I'm like, that's awesome.
It was so creepy. It was so good. But they were awesome. Oh, man, that was day 2. Yeah, you weren't there, unfortunately. That was the day a lot of cosplaying. There's a really good Jason cosplayer there.
Yeah, because they had the Halloween costume.
Yeah, I missed a good time. Because my girlfriend wanted to go to a haunt that got rained out. So I didn't do anything.
This year, you have plans already, Sci-Fi Horror Fest. And Scarecon will be in Rochester this year. So
yes, it will. And I'll be spending the weekend up there this time.
Absolutely.
All right. Next on the list is one of the better haunted house movies I think has probably ever been made. And I don't know that there's been a lot of... I don't know that there's ever really been one that I would consider to be just earth-shattering and amazing, although there's some that I like a lot. But The Changeling is definitely one of the better ones, starring the phenomenal late George C. Scott.
It's good. I'd let you more talk about this because it's good, but you know my feelings on haunted house movies. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, he's a musician that takes up residence in an old house, and he starts hearing I think little kids running around. If I remember right, it's been a long time since I've seen this.
What you think are little kids running around?
Yeah, but he finds out that the house is haunted, and he kind of unravels the mystery little by little while he's staying in the house. But another one of from what I remember of it, because I mean, again, it's probably been over a decade since I've seen it. Very, very atmospheric again.
Oh yeah, so it's a good. Like I said, it's a good movie. I'm just not a big fan of. That's just I'm just not a big fan of the haunted house movies. And it's a good movie though. It is a good movie. If I was a fan of that genre more, I think I'd be into it more. But I just am not.
Yeah, I think what probably sold me more on that one was just George C. Scott's performance in it in general. He was so good because he was great in everything. So. And then next on my list would be my second favorite Jamie Lee Curtis starring movie to Halloween, and that would be The Fog.
Ooh, The Fog is good. I don't know. I like terror. I you know me, I'm a slasher guy, so that's the only reason I rate Terror Train above that. But The Fog is really good. The original version of The Fog is really good.
Yeah, don't watch the 2005 remake.
No. If you're going to watch that, instead watch The Mist, because The Mist is really good.
Yeah.
But don't watch The Fog from 2005,
I believe.
Yeah, so don't watch the remake. Watch the original. But Mike, give the synopsis of Fog for anybody who hasn't. It's a legendary movie, so I don't know who hasn't seen it, but you never know.
Yeah, it's a little town that's on a bay on the ocean, and there was a murder. There was a leper colony that was murdered on a boat, like 100 years before or 200 years before. I can't remember how many years before. I think it was 100 years earlier, and strange paranormal activity begins kind of quickly into the movie, and you find out that it's like zombie / ghost versions of the people that were murdered that come back to the town and on the anniversary, and they're killing anybody that gets in their way, and mostly going after relatives of the people that were responsible for murdering them. Another one of the most atmospheric movies I've ever seen. Great cast. It's got, as we mentioned, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Adrienne Barbeau's in it. The amazing Tom Atkins, who can't keep his shirt or pants on in anything that he's ever been in. He's in it. Sleeps with Jamie Lee Curtis 30 seconds after he meets her. It's phenomenal. So great cast, great atmosphere, great ghost story. Maybe my favorite ghost story of any movie I've ever seen, and it's another one that's it's an October tradition for me.
Absolutely, as it should be. It's a classic movie.
And then finally, the biggest movie I would say we probably all agree on. I know The Shining's tough to beat, but the biggest, most iconic movie that came out in 1980, Friday the 13th.
Absolutely. We talked about, I don't think we need to give the synopsis for this, but if you need to give the synopsis for it, camp counselors getting killed. There you go.
That's it.
Enough said. If you don't know, of course, the legal battles that we bitch about, I don't think that there's, what else could we say? I mean, one of the most iconic franchises of all time started in 1980 with the original Friday the 13th. and a great movie overall. So I mean, there's nothing else that we can say about that. Although, so that does it for the list for 1980. If there was something we missed that you thought we should put on there, please let us know. If there's any of those movies that you want to hear us review in like long form, go ahead and throw it out there, because I'm sure we would have no problem doing it, especially because some of them I'd like to see again. But I do have a little bit of breaking news before we actually to turn off today and go to the end. And there is a horror movie adaptation of the 60s variety show The Banana Splits coming out, and it has just gotten rated. I mean, it was teased earlier in the year. It's just gotten rated, and it is rated R for violence and gore. So Sci-Fi, Warner Brothers Home Entertainment in coalition with Sci-Fi is putting out the Banana Splits Adventure Horror. It was based on the Banana Splits Adventure Hour, and it's going to be called, I guess it's just going to be called the Banana Splits. I could be wrong. It doesn't really say on here if they're calling it something different. It does say that it has been given a hard R for gore and violence.
Amazing.
And that it will be released on Blue Ribbon content from Warner Brothers Television Group's digital studio via Warner Brothers Home Entertainment release that will be followed by the television debut on Sci-Fi. So much like how the Leprechaun Returns movie came out, it will be released. Hopefully this is better. It sounds a lot better. I hope so. This is the synopsis of this movie. In the upcoming horror thriller, a boy named Harley and his family, brother Austin, mother Beth, and father Mitch, attend a taping of the Banana Splits TV show, which is supposed to be a fun-filled birthday for young Harley and business as usual for Rebecca, the producer of the series. But things take an unexpected turn, and the body count quickly rises. Can Harley, his mom, and their new pals safely escape?
Sounds phenomenal.
The film stars Danny Kind, Finley Watek-Hisson, Romeo Career, Steve Lund, and Sarah Canning. And is directed, and I'm going to butcher this name so bad, is directed by Danishka Esterhazy. Sorry if I butchered that. And the script was written by Jed Elnuff and Scott Thomas.
Sounds like a lot of like Norwegian people involved or something Swedish maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So keep you on the lookout. There's no. I just thought that was a good article. That was me just kind of regurgitating that and getting a little quick information there. Sorry if it came off a little rough, but yeah, I saw that and went, "Are you kidding me?" So the Banana Splits, which is TV family fun, is now going to be a horror movie coming to you soon from Warner Media /Sci-Fi. And I might actually check this one out. It doesn't have a release date, sorry guys, but it does have a rating now, and it's rated R for gore and violence, strong violence. So it's not going to disappoint, I guess.
Apparently,
no.
All right. Well,
so going into the close once again, if you have any thoughts on the show, please visit our Facebook page, Horror Zone 607. While you're there, like and share that page. If you already do that, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Could you also rate and review it to help out this show? Because we're out here trying to make the show as good and as far reaching as we can. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Horror Zone 607 for all the social medias to join our conversation. Please use the hashtag HZ607 and also visit 8122productions.com where you can read some of Mike C's past reviews. On top of that, you can also stream and download all of our previous this episode and all our previous episodes of the Horror Zone 607 podcast right from 8122productions.com. It's a good tool as well. So visit that, and as things get better and more. Also, pretty soon we'll be launching the Horror Zone 607 YouTube channel. Just putting that out there. I am going to be launching that within the next couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, as that's part of the next phase of our development here. So you'll be able to find our. We've got a couple of them on there on the 8122 Productions channel, but you'll start to see some of the audio. Actually, maybe even this one. Maybe by the weekend I might put it up there, so it'll have a little video or little screenshots while we talk, so you can listen to this audio there. Plus, also there'll be videos and other things coming up that we're going to be doing through YouTube and the Horror Zone 607 channel. So keep your eyes posted for that. We'll let you know when that launches full time if you keep your eyes on our social medias and also on this program.
Yeah, next week we're also going to have some footage from Rich's bike ride in Cleveland, so that'll be fun. We'll get that right up on all of our sites. But
I don't think that can go on YouTube. They have
strict policies
about man.
We'll have to put blurbs over things or something. We'll get fancy.
I wish I could say it was a big blurb, but
with that being said, that's going to do it for our show this week. We want to thank y'all for listening once again, and we will be back at it again next week with more horror movie news and talking a lot of horror. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.